How do our reports make life easier for clients and partners?
Our reports are pretty standardized. They have a very clear section of how to read the report. They have a clear section that is the executive summary that that is written in plain language that anybody can read and understand and get a clear picture of the status of the environment. It has a section that clearly defines what the methodology and what our approach is to penetration testing, depending upon whether it's a web app or it's a mobile app or it's a network style pen test or even wireless testing. It has a clear section of what we call a technical summary and like the technical details for the actual on the ground people to read through and understand what the tester did to identify the vulnerability and a basic statement of how they can go about fixing it. And then we follow that up with a rating mechanism that gives, depending upon whether the client wants to have a CVSS rating system because they have a more mature system, or they want to use our modified dread report where we have defined the risk ratings as if you can break into the computer and own it, this is the value. Um, is a user going to be affected by this? This is the value. And it makes it plain and simple for someone who doesn't have that mature security procedure or process enabled. And it clearly defines how to understand if we say something is a high, you can look at the risk rating rubric and say, okay, a high means these things could happen. All right, we should probably take care of that now. A low means these things could happen. We can probably mitigate most of these with putting a firewall here, and that will allow us to handle the high stuff while we leave that alone. Or this medium is a concern that we should address or not address immediately. I say not address immediately. I mean, put it in a triage platform where you're going to address the medium, but the high is more concerned because you can clearly understand what that risk is. CVSS um, is an attempt to ensure that there's no what's the word I'm looking for, subjectivity. If a finding is an adjacent attack platform, like I can attack it, but I have to be adjacent, that has a lower concern than something that I can do from my grandmother's basement, right? So there's mitigating steps in between to allow you to determine the level of risk. But some of those require the organization that's dealing with those things to be able to know what does an 8.4 mean in a CVSS. You'd have to go and look at each little step within. And that's perfectly fine for a seasoned security program. But for lack of a better word, a mom and pop shop, they just need to know the down and dirty concerns. Can somebody own my computer from this finding? Yes, they can. No, they can't. Okay. If they can, let's fix it now. If they can't, then we'll prioritize it over another finding.
Yeah, one of the things I like about our reports the most are the executive summary. I'm not a technical person by nature, so when you get a report in and you can actually review that technical summary and it actually speaks layman terms for that person, that CEO, that whoever in the C-suite's looking this over, and then they go down, their technical person says, "Hey, I see that we've got these findings. What's going on with this?" And then the technical person jumps down, they look right into the technical thing, say, "Okay," and they can explain it to the CEO or whomever needs to know the information. It just makes life easier. All this kind of came about when one of our other partners decided to make a penetration testing company because he found out all the other big owners of companies couldn't afford big $10, $15, $20,000 pen test. It was just overrated. And he said, well, let's jump down to that. Why can't we make our reports really cater to those people? And that's kind of what we've done. And it actually works. It's an amazing product. You got to see it.